Welcome back, everybody. It is Labor Day, September 6th, 2021, and I'm down here in the strip food plot, and we're going to do some work on the food plots today. I got a bunch of rye grain, and we're going to go ahead and spread all these areas in the food plots that didn't do too good because of all the rain we had. In this particular plot, this is a strip food plot. Right down the edge, we had a huge run out where the water pretty much killed all the brassica right along the edge, and down the bottom it all pulled up real hard, and there's really just a bunch of weeds growing down there. A lot of the brassica did pretty crappy, but up here the brassica did good. So what we're going to do is take that rye and we're just going to broadcast all these areas that didn't do good in rye. So there's something that the deer are going to like. And the rye will do good in this wet ground. Obviously you can see it's super wet still. You know, that's not going to bother this rye. It's going to do good either way. So we're going to go ahead and broadcast this whole bag of rye in here and see how it does. I picked this stuff up from NYP and North Climber from Wayne and Jesse, and they've got a bunch more there as well. I'll show you what it looks like here. It's important that you get the rye grain and not the rye grass. This deer like rye grass, they don't give two shits about, and then you'll have a nightmare trying to fight it every year because it won't stop growing. But this is what we want, so we're going to fill that up with it and spread it. You can see how freaking wet this is on this side of the food plot. We're gonna have to do something about somehow the ditch that runs along the edge of the field. Vern dug this whole ditch out down here this year, and it saved that side of the food plot, so all the water that comes off this hillside with this corn goes down into the swamp. But there's a ditch that runs down the edge of this road up here that goes down to these fields, and somehow that water's running out of that ditch into here somewhere along that area. So we're gonna have to figure out where that is and fix it next year, because this caused huge problems for me on this side of the food plot. You see where it just runs, it ran right down the edge here and just totally ruined stuff. So we're gonna fill it full of rye and get it greened up and get at least have something that deer like to eat down here other than just the brassica. We got this whole bottom side of the strip food plot spread with rye, and this is just something that happens if you're doing food plots every year. Every once in a while you're going to have a situation like this where it's a kind of a bust, and you just got to roll with the punches, do a little duck and weave and pop them back in the face. And that's kind of what I did with this rye. You know, I kind of took one to the chin with all this rain that we got, and this is the worst this food plot's ever, I mean, look, since I started doing food plots when I didn't know what I was doing. It just is what it is. So at this point, I spread a ton of winter rye in here. You can see it's, I put it in here really thick. It's just so wet. You can look at standing water in that deer track right there. But this is going to bounce back though. This winter rye is going to come up really thick and green, and give them you know, an opportunity to feed on something out here. And quite frankly, this isn't really like a huge feed food plot. This food plot is perfect for you know, an area that's really close to bedding. We have big ag on each side of this, and I have a beautiful soybean food plot and corn plot right across this red brush right here. And we do have a good brassica crop right in amongst the soybeans, believe it or not, that the deer are going to be eating. So this is just going to be kind of a transition area, and it's a spot that we can normally catch them moving to these bigger ag fields before dark. You know, the hunting shanty's right up there, and they slip through here thinking that they're safe, just like Stickers did 2 years ago, and last year it was a Bully 7 that came through here. We killed some really nice deer out of this food plot over the years, but it's just unfortunate that you know, this year we've got all this rain. It just keeps raining. It's unbelievable. You know, there's a lot of places throughout the United States, in the Midwest especially, that are hurting for rain. I wish we could have split it down the middle and gave them half, but you know, you just got to roll with the punches. Like I said, it's not going to be a failure. We're going to make sure we get a crop on here that the deer are going to want to eat. So, and that's just what we did with all this rye. There's our upper farm. I'm going to have to do the same thing in certain areas. There's some low-lying spots that have been kind of destroyed by all the rain, so we're going to go up there with the rye, and then I'm going to hit the outside edge of my food plot up here in the corner. That's looking really good though, but we're going to get the outside edge with rye as well. So if you're in the same situation, go get a bunch of rye grain. Make sure it's not rye grass, but get a bunch of rye grain and hit, you know, that area hard with it, and you'll still get a good crop. I mean, we have some really nice brassica plants in here. You know, this is just on a high spot right here, so it's doing good. This top area is doing really well. It's just because, you know, it's not wet up there. We're gonna salvage it, and we're gonna kill a big buck off it this year, so stick with me. Let's go hit these other plots. So as you can see, this food plot's doing really well up here. Everything's coming in really good. What we're gonna do with this rye is we're gonna go right up along the edge, pretty much right where this gator path is up the edge, and we're gonna hammer this with rye so we get a good kind of green carpet of rye coming up right on the edge all the way around. So we're not actually gonna do any in the plot, we're just gonna do it right on the edge here. This doesn't get much sun, you know, because of the trees, so that rye doesn't need much sun to grow. Well, we got a good covering of rye right on the edge here. You can see it all. We'll have a nice green carpet of rye coming up right on the edge, and we're gonna have some luscious brassica in the middle with lots of standing corn. Everything you need, well, not everything you need to kill big bucks. That comes with very little pressure on your woods, letting the little ones go, and having the food. If you got all three of those things, you're gonna end up with big bucks in your trucks. I'm gonna give something a try just for the heck of it to see if it works. I have a bunch of extra rye here, so we have these gator paths that go up through the woods, and obviously they're right through the middle of the woods, and I'm sure the soil is just garbage, but I'm gonna take and drive right down these gator paths through the woods and spread this rye and see what kind of growth we get right in the middle of the woods with it. You know, maybe I'll be surprised and maybe it'll grow really good, maybe it won't grow at all. Who knows? I've never done it before, so let's give it a try and see what happens in a few weeks. We're up here at the upper farm food plot that we extended a lot this year in the middle. You can see, you know, it's not nearly as good as it's been in the past. The color is kind of bad in it. It's better over here on the right side, but I think the reality of it is a lot of these plots just got too much rain. It certainly wasn't because of lack of fertilizer or lime. I had everything right with the soil test, so You can see all the low spots where it didn't do very good. So we're gonna take and just hammer it with rye grain. We're just gonna start on this side and go back and forth until we're out. So let's get after it.